Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. This is the America First Pill channel. So I just want to discuss um, about a poll coming out of my state of Wisconsin. And I'm talking about Wisconsin as an example because it is not looking good in regards to the enthusiasm we need on the GOP to potentially to try and win the midterms. I'm hearing that it doesn't look good at the federal level. The House looks almost gone, and the Senate is now at risk too. And I think if you are a Republican voter, instead of calling voters dumb, you need to start asking why that's happening. And if you don't see what's happening on why they're unenergized, well, look at what the Republicans in office that we have the trifecta with are doing to Trump's agenda. They're not getting anything done. I do not think that this conflict on its own is an end-all be-all, but it's also because nothing has gotten done. Nothing's being codified. There's ways to go on offense, even if you have to nuke the filibuster to get agenda. Republicans are not interested in doing anything because they hate Trump, just like the Democrats do. They just pretend. They're just Dems are just honest about how they feel about us. Republicans, they beg for our vote. They'll manipulate Trump and then expect us just to hand us our vote like they never betrayed us. And people are getting sick of it. They can't even pass election integrity. Even when it's widely popular. So yes, voters on the Republican side do not feel they have a reason to vote. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that's not the way to handle things. And I'm going to make a separate video about how can we potentially make changes and about why more on a detail later. But people are ready to burn the system down. Dems want to burn it down in their own way, but Republicans kind of are fine with it. There's a lot of Republican-leaning voters, conservative-leaning voters that are fine with the system burning. They don't feel they have anything to lose at this point because of this. And, they elected Trump with a mandate to get these codified, and we sent the Republican with a true trifecta, and nothing is getting done. And voters they've had it. It's like they give Republicans a chance, and this is how they treat us. So people are upset. So what is my point with this? Well, I just saw a poll that came out that showed in a generic ballot in Wisconsin for governor race. And keep in mind, Wisconsin's one of the battleground states. Michigan, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia, they all have a governor race this year. To win in 2028, you're going to have to at least win one of the Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. You have to win at least one of them to win, or you're not winning the presidency. So, winning the state governorship is important for sure. And the silver lining is federal and state races don't always intertwine. People sometimes cross over in state. They're not the same. They're a little less partisan generally. But the polling shows that in a generic ballot, Dems lead in a generic ballot with the Republicans by 7 percentage points. Well, polling is wacko in Wisconsin. It's always been crazy in Wisconsin. And I don't think it's going to be that bad. And I think Dems are a little bit too cocky right now. I'm not even saying Republicans are going to win. I think we have to be realistic that the environment is not as favorable to us right now, so we have to be realistic. But you're looking at, of course, generic ballot without naming names is going to favor Democrats. So I think that's a terrible poll. It's by the RMG poll. It's an independent polling firm. With Tom Tiffany, it's pretty neck and neck at best. So I don't know. I think the scary part about that is we have at least three candidates that are leading that are actual communists. The leading candidate of Wisconsin is a communist. The second behind as of now is a socialist. They're all far left nut jobs that are leading the candidates. And the communist is like the Mom Donnie, she's leading the field right now. I doubt she'll get the nomination, but I don't know. This is a scary reality, people, because if Wisconsin probably gets a trifecta if the Dems win. And well, Wisconsin will be gone for a while. But this should be a warning sign that it's not just going to be Wisconsin, it could be Arizona. Fortunately, Charlie's not here anymore. They took him from us, and so just because Arizona has a high level of rural registered Republican does not mean those voters are coming out. Same with Michigan. In fact, even more so in Michigan. So we have to, GOP has to change. And it's a warning. Because the warning I'm more concerned is that the enthusiasm gap between Dems and Republicans is 20 percentage difference. Dems being 20 percentage points more enthusiastic to vote than Republicans. And you can't just pretend, oh, well, why is that the case? Well, look at the GOP. It's a freaking mess. It's a mess. In fact, Wisconsin has one of the worst ran GOPs. In the country. And I think a lot of voters are fatigued. They want to burn the system down. Wisconsin's conservative leaning, for example, but it doesn't always mean they're Republican. They've never been partisanly Republican. Wisconsin's always been they go back and forth. But in Wisconsin, you got to give voters a reason to vote for you. And right now, Republicans don't even care. And this is a pattern. It's not just Wisconsin. It's going to trace if we don't get our act together. Now, Tom Tiffany is a good candidate for governor here. I do respect him a lot. He's running a good campaign, but he can't do it on its own. And Republicans have no interest in actually winning. In fact, the Republican Party secretly does not want Tiffany because he's too authentic. And unfortunately, in politics, being authentic is a turnoff to the deep state or the establishment because all they care about is power for themselves. So, I don't know. Anyway, I saw that polling today and, the generic ballot, it's maybe a little bit of a push poll, maybe a demoralization poll. A lot of time they are demoralization polls, but it's a reality check. Republicans are not enthused, and I see it. I can feel it. There's not much enthusiasm. Unless you're someone who's a high propensity Republican, vote Republican no matter who type, and those exist, which are generally the more politically engaged Republicans, you're not going to win because the ones we need aren't voting. And while we're too busy fighting for our life support to win, I guess some people in the Republican base has more important things, and that's to try to oust people like Tucker Carlson. And Joe Rogan's not necessarily a conservative in what we understand, but they're definitely part of the base that can expand the base, and they're uninterested, all because of one issue. It's not Tucker. It's the conservative leaning independents. It's the disinfected people who feel abandoned. That's who won't show up. And yet there's Republicans being, oh, we'll be fine. No, we're not. So I don't know. I mean, this year's going by fast, and November will be here soon. If we don't, this is our last chance, and there's no way to run. Okay, running to Florida is not going to save this country, because if Dems get a trifecta, they will pack the courts. They will also they'll win the presidency, and we'll never win again. They'll mass amnesty. It really won't matter what state you live in. So you better get your act together. And it's going to take being involved and not just complaining. So I don't know. Anyway, that I just wanted to share that poll I saw. I mean, it's a scary reality, but if voters are not enthused to vote, you really got to start holding the Republican Party accountable, because every day they show that they don't care. And so why would voters care? So until the leadership shows that they care, you really can't expect voters to care that much. And I think a lot of people are so upset, they're just ready for the system to burn at this point. Burn it down. I'm not saying I agree with that mindset, but I'm just sharing the reality of what will happen. Those who vote Republican, the lifelong Republicans, you need to realize that, or you're just going to be more disappointed. And yet we're wondering why we lose all the time. And there's those talking heads in the conservative leaning circles don't even get why we don't win anyways. Anyway, I just needed to vent a little bit on that, but better wake up. Anyway, if you like this video, let me know what you all think. What does the GOP need to do to win, and what needs to change in the party to combat the left? Because I'm not saying we can't just cave on principles necessarily, but what do we need to do? Because this brand that we have is not appealing to voters. It's just not. Without Trump, especially, no one is going to come out for the GOP. Even if they agree with them, they're not going to be energized enough to vote for that. So, anyway, let me know what you think. If you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. The America First Pill channel out.